Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Liina Leijala, and she's going to speak a little bit about her career, the beginning. How have you been?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for this interview. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much, Julio. It is my pleasure. Very nice to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about the beginning of your career, how you started studying music, and why have you decided for the cello as instrument?
So, you know what? The beginning was interesting. I have a twin sister, and she's now a climate change researcher in the Helsinki University. We both started with violin, and that was coming from my mother back then. We were 5 or 6 years old, and we took violin lessons. And at some point, I felt this is not right for me. And I told my mother, I don't like the sound of violin for myself. I love it, but this is not me. So then my mother said, okay, so with Liina it's not working, but with Ulpu, my twin sister, it is. So then eventually my mother said, you know, there is one spot in the music school in Keuru, in Finland, in cello. And I said, okay, so let's see, what is cello? And when I heard the sound of cello, I knew this is me. It is deeper, it is darker, it is more down to earth. And I said, that's me. I want that. And that's how it started. So I think I was 7 or 8 when I started with cello, and immediately I felt this is right. There was no question anymore about this. I felt this is my instrument, that's what I want to do. So that was the very, very beginning.
Sounds great. And where do you draw inspiration from?
For music or in general?
For music and in general?
This is a very good question. I think that my inspiration comes deep down from the human beings that I'm surrounded with. But let me put it this way. When I was a child, I spent a lot of time alone. So I think that certain solitude has always followed my life. And I spent a lot of time in the nature. I was alone. And I think that nature is something that we human beings nowadays, we tend to forget. We are so sort of emancipated to the urban life that we forget where we come from. For me, it was the sound of rain. I was often lying down at the shore of the lake Keurusselkä, which is in Finland, and I put my hands in the mud and I felt the ground. It was raining on my face, and I felt there are some fishes in the lake, and I heard the sound of the wind touching the long grass, going up and down and left and right. And I think that my inspiration really comes from there. Also from these moments when I would go in the middle of the night with a rowing boat to the lake. The lake water element is very important for me. I would go there in the night and I would feel everyone else is sleeping. I'm the only person on earth who is awake, and I would feel everything, and the solitude, the silence, also the changing seasons in my own country. I think that's where my real inspiration and my character has been built there. I think that's where it's really coming from. That's how I feel. And love for music. Um, I think music is something that is expressing all the situations and human related feelings. So that was something I explored and experienced when I was very little girl, and it follows me until today. I still feel like a little girl. It follows me. I'm still in that lakeside. I'm still in that nature, even though I'm mingling around big cities, etc. But I still feel that is really me, a real core, nature. Yes.
Sounds amazing. And is there any, or are there any compositions, specific ones that you really love to play, the ones that touch your heart and soul?
Oh, yes. There are so many. There are so many. It depends also on my mood. Um, but there are certainly some pieces that have followed me throughout my life. Um, I would say that Slavic music, let's say Dvorak, Sibelius, Smetana, these are compositions that touch me because of the nature element in them and because of the understanding and the connection to them. But at the same time, I also listen to everything else. I listen to pop music, rock music, jazz, everything. I believe that good is good. So I don't have a filter. I don't feel that I have to belong in one category. I want to always explore, expand, and right now, what am I listening right now? I have been recently listening a lot of U2. I love this piece called Where the Streets Have No Name. Some musicians in the classical music field would say, "Oh, you listen to that?" I would say, "Yes, I love it." I love it. And at the same time, I might listen to Stravinsky, I might listen to anything. So I'm very flexible. There is no answer to that. It depends very much on what's going on in my life, what is going on in the world, how the weather is, what did I eat last time, and I'm always, going with the flow somehow. It's hard to answer. I don't have some, very stagnated or established opinions on I only like this, I only like that, because let me put it this way. For example, Beethoven is something that when I was younger, I felt, oh, I cannot really play this. I didn't want to play the sonatas for cello. But then later it became like a column of knowledge and like a real establishment. And now I'm very keen on that. But maybe after 2 years, I feel different. I
That's
hope
true.
that answers somehow.
Yeah, it's important not to label things. What is good, and be open-minded towards the music.
Yeah,
You always learning from different music, and Beethoven for me is the best. I must suspect when I speak
I
about him.
understand you.
It's
Yes.
probably heavy metal before electricity, people say.
Yes. Yes. I understand this very well. Yes.
Yeah, and being a musician is not easy. We all know.
Yeah.
People think he's only playing the instrument and it's all about having fun, but it demands a lot of practicing, a lot of traveling.
Yes.
How do you prepare yourself physically and mentally to deal with all these um, demandings of music?
Huh. That is a very interesting question. I think that I'm not the most usual person who has a certain preparation for things. I respect people who can be very organized and say that, I always take my morning run, then I have my coffee, and then I would do that. But in my case, it's like this. When I really love something, when I love a project, I'm very enthusiastic about it. I will do it even if I'm extremely sick or even if I feel terrible, because that love for that project or the music is going to keep me alive, and it's going to give me the strength that I need. So I believe very much in moments, and I believe in my intuition of what is important at that moment. So I would say, like, um, prioritizing things. I always listen to myself when I feel that I need to do that, even if I was very tired after all the travels and everything. But if I really like this or love this, no problem. I suddenly found the strength, and I'm able to do anything. I can spend 5 days without sleeping. I can do it. But then I might be tired. But that was how it was supposed to be. So I would say, in general, very intuitive approach to how do I deal with all of that. If I'm more pragmatic, more concrete, of course, traveling a lot is also exhausting. And there have been moments where I thought, well, my life is all the time at the airport. And I started to hate airports, even though before I said I love airports because there is the freedom. The world is my oyster. But then there was a moment I felt I hate airport. I never want to go to airport again. And now I'm in a point I again love the airport. So it's very fluctuating. It's very different from time to time. And actually, my answer is I don't have an answer to that. It depends on what I want. When I want something, I will do it. And I don't care about lining up at the airport. I don't care about the distress of the travels or anything because I love the goal. I think that's my answer.
Yeah, I understand. And what advice could you give to a musician who is studying and wants to become a professional or just perfect the craft?
My advice is this. Um, be ready to take disappointment and stand up and go on. Disappointment is going to come. Music business and musician's life is difficult, and I want to face that. I'm not going to say, oh, it's all glorious, it's beautiful, you play in this concert hall, you have these wonderful reviews there, and you're going to have a fantastic life. The only thing I'm sure about is if you really love music, you should do it, but be ready. There are going to be slaps in your face. You're going to confront with a lot of negativity, criticisms that goes to your persona, and you have to deal with that. And the most important, what is more important, that criticism or all this, you should play like this, you should have this interpretation, you actually should do that. What is more important, that or your own love for what you do? Because I believe for a real, genuine, original personality, there is always space. So to narrow down everything, to summarize, be ready to take disappointment, keep walking when the ground is burning, and that's it.
That's good advice for sure. And talking about arts, which kinds of arts do you like besides music?
I'm very much into film. I love film. It is because I feel like this. I feel that the whole life is sort of film for me. I even think when I walk in a beautiful street or a square, I always see music combined with image. So that aesthetic combination for me is very important, and from there I also come to the fact that I love paintings. I love visual arts in every shape and form. I also paint myself when I can, when I have the inspiration for that. What else? Arts in general. I think it is an expression, it is a mirror of what's happening in the society, what's happening politically in the world, and how the people feel at the moment. So I am very flexible. I am able to respect anyone and anything that is portraying what's going on right now in the world. So I cannot, specify exactly what would be my favorite, but let's say at the moment I'm very much into film. That for me is extremely interesting.
Sounds great. And what are your plans for the future in your career?
My plans for the future in my career are to be able to express myself even more and to always go closer to who I really am, and who knows what that means. That is something that I have some ideas. I have some ideas what it could be. I also feel like I have experienced a lot of things, but it can be always changing. It is an forever changing situation where you grow, you have an experience in life. It's not only about music. So what happens in your life, what happens within the family, what happens in your personal life, what happens with colleagues, what happens in the world. So everything is affecting me. And I think the most important thing for me is to be able to express myself, but also I am concerned in general of the relevance of classical music for the audience. And when I talk about audience, I mean people who are not educated to classical music, for instance. They are people who feel it, they love it. So in order to keep those people, interested in classical music and to come to concerts, I think that is a responsibility that I feel very close to my heart. That's something I want to work on. I also feel I want to conduct. That is something that I am going to do because for me as a cellist and a manager of a couple of companies so far, I feel that handling a whole spectrum of music making, the harmony and melody combined with your own emotions, with the respect towards the composer and the relevance towards the audience, it's something that I would like to contribute to. And who knows where the path goes? I don't know yet, but that might be interesting for me.
It's kind of a mission, right? A musician like spread or show these emotions to public and introduce classical music to people that are not educated in classical music. This is an amazing
Absolutely.
mission. Yeah. Congratulations for
Absolutely,
your
yes.
great work.
Oh, thank you so much. Congratulations to you for your great work. I'm happy to meet you, my colleague.
It's a pleasure for me to be interviewing such people that do music with love, which is very important. And how do you feel that in general music can help an individual in their development, physical and mental development?
I think that music, for me, it is the most abstract form of art, and that is because so we listen to music, and the moment the phrase has finished, it is gone. So it is no more. We cannot touch. Where is it? So we just listen to Dvorak ninth or Bruckner ninth coda, the yam pa 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 pa, and then it's gone. What happens next? So it's not something we can have right here, but it's something that touches us and inspires us to do better in life. How can I put this? I believe that music has such an incredible impact, regardless of culture and regardless of background. People in European Union, in America, in South America, in Asia, in Africa, we all have different kinds of musics going on. Historically speaking, so different cultures have always had music, and the people have something. I think it is genetically there in the humankind that we feel music. So no matter what music, when music is great and it's touching, that is the point. No matter what, it can be Bruckner, it can be a fantastic tribal ceremonial piece in Africa. I love that. Whenever it touches, it is important, it is relevant to the human. I don't know if this answers. Please ask me more. Maybe I can
Even for
explain
the
better.
films, yeah. If you watch a film, there's no film without music. Music is part of the story. You can tell
Yes,
stories. It's something like there is a phrase, Nietzsche, without music, life would be a mistake. And I totally agree with that. Yeah.
yes, yes. Music is explaining. It is something like let's put it in a very simplistic way. It is like, so we have Batman, and the music is going to tell us Batman is coming. So we know something is cooking, something is coming, and then we have Batman. But if we don't have the music, it's just Batman. So,
Exactly.
so music has incredibly important role regardless of who is listening to it. But human feelings and human beings, they have connection to music whether they have studied that or not. But they do feel that. So the relevance, again, the relevance of music, it is unbelievable. It is actually something that let's talk about governments or institutions who are funding classical music. They might not understand that, and therefore, and I do not blame. I do not blame. I'm just saying. Therefore, I believe. musicians, no matter what genre, musicians, they really have a responsibility, because let's say a person who has never had anything to do with music, they might listen to radio and something, but they wouldn't know how do you study that, etc. They go to cinema, for example, or they go to concert and they feel, my God, that was great. Why was it great? So that's something that anyone who is working on the music field, no matter what genre, they have the responsibility to explain that so that we can go on. So I feel this also. I feel that that's also part of my mission. It is not only to perform, it is also to manage and to talk about this subject.
That's true. And how hard is it for a musician, a professional musician, to be at the same time you have to show expression on music? It's a lot of feelings that come, and you have to control them to perform somehow as perfect as it can be according to the score. And how do you balance these two technical, emotional abilities?
Well, that is the dilemma of our lives, and that is a beautiful dilemma. So, to combine motorics and your heart, that is a fantastic cocktail. I love it. How is it? I think, like anything, also sports, let's say a fantastic sportler, they have to learn certain patterns, or a mathematician. In order to apply math or sports or music, you need to know certain patterns. You need to have established movements, or you need to have established patterns in math, or you need to have established muscle, knowledge of how your body works. So in order to express yourself, you need to have a fundament. And what comes to music now, let's talk about, playing an instrument in classical music. You need to have that fundament, and that means a lot of hours practicing. It means prioritizing your time, and it means you have to also do it at a young age. But to just jump a little bit from that young age thing, which is very popular nowadays, I would disagree a little bit with that, because I believe in an individual. Let's say there is someone and they are 45 and they say, I'm going to be a cellist. You know what? I'm going to say, go for it. Yes, do it. I don't care about age. So, but to narrow down, just to go back to the core, it is an incredible combination of having a sound. So talking about classical musician, having a sound in your head should manifest through your hands and your body. So it is also not enough just to be motorical and technical, mechanical. And nowadays I would criticize a little bit the fact that mechanical performance has kind of taken over. I see that in the last generation, we have more musicians who were more connected to their heart, and that performance for me is more interesting. So I myself would like to see a development where we go towards understanding again, phrasing, timing, emotional connection with your audience and yourself, instead of bam.
I
I
get
hope
it.
this explains. Okay, good.
This is amazing. And I thank you very much for being here with us, sharing a little bit of your amazing work, your heart with us. And it was
It
very
is my
kind of
pleasure.
you.
It is absolutely my pleasure, dear Giulio. Thank you so much. I apologize for being so late, but it was my pleasure to talk to you today, and I hope that we can always keep talking. I think your questions are very interesting and very relevant and very important. So I appreciate your work very much, and I would always like to contribute.